The NBA is terrified of the Thunder Big Three firing on all cylinders like they just did in Game 4, because this means the NBA season is going to wrap up pretty quickly down the stretch. Shutting off opposing star Anthony Edwards, SGA, JDub, and Chet left their fingerprints all over Game 4 to take a commanding 3-1 series heading home, but we're going to get all into that. First, I want to say, what's up, guys? This is Gabriel Ebersole here with Thunder Digest. 5 wins left before the Thunder capture their first win of championship in franchise history. This is monumental excitement. Just want to point out though that 3 out of 5 people watching this on average are not subscribed to the channel. And with Thunder nearing this amazing feat, we want to have you guys notified up to date with all the games, news, anything with the team. So make sure you're subscribed. We're trying to hit 5,000 subscribers. So help us reach that goal. Without further ado, let's get into Game 4. All of the uber specifics of Game 4. This was probably the most important game in the series for the Thunder. I would say that game 3 was for the Wolves, because going down 3-0 would have been almost insurmountable against our team. But for us, game 4 was the most important because we had just got blown out by 40 on the road in game 3, and they had a chance to tie it up 2-2 going back to Oklahoma City. And the series doesn't start till someone wins the road game, is what they always say. But we were able to do that. We were able to capture a 2-point win last night, very narrowly, behind the backs of our star players, the big three of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP, third team All NBA selection and All Defensive Jalen Williams, and the rising star Chet Holmgren, the former second overall pick. Really came through heavy for us in this one. Before we take a look at what these guys did, another thing that needs to be noted is the lack of star power that we saw coming from Minnesota's side tonight. Fresh off of a very efficient 30 ball, Anthony Edwards struggled mightily to even get shots at the rim in this game. He had 2 field goal attempts at halftime, struggling mightily in this one just to find a look. And that really is credit to the game plan that we had against them. And Ant credits this. If we take a look at what Ant said about this, he said, definitely not the points I wanted to get, but they didn't really let me get too many shots off. They did a good job with that. Every time I had the ball, they showed me a major crowd just making the right play and getting off of it. Now, when we're talking about Anthony Edwards, a guy who his primary impact on a team is going to be scoring the basketball, the amazing game plan of Mark Daigneault to just game plan and freeze him out was magnificent. Now, the Timberwolves still put up 126 points. This needs to be noted. Anthony Edwards didn't necessarily play terrible. He only shot 13 shots for his 16 points. Like he said, he was more just not getting shots at the rim. If we take a look at who Ant is as a player, this is a guy who averaged north of 27.5 this year. He's averaging about 6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, chipping in on defense to almost 2 stocks. And he's an efficient player, especially from the 3-point line this year. He shot almost 40% from the three and 45 from the field. So when you're looking at a guy like Ant, whose main impact is going to be on offense, when we take him out of this game, yes, it was still a close game, but the whole dynamic of the Timberwolves team is changing. They're scrambling to find these shots, and we see that in the game. They're really like, and Dante DiVincenzo maybe hits a couple threes, Nasri hits a couple threes. These are the guys that when we played Jokic, we made beat us as well. And it did end up working out in the end, and it looks like we're starting to implant a similar game plan with the Minnesota Timberwolves, because their game that they won, Anthony Edwards had a very fresh 30 points, a very efficient 30 points, and we honed in on that to make sure that did not happen again, and we were successful. Another thing that Ant said regarding this, let's take a look. He said, I don't look at it like I struggled. They had a good game plan making us get off the ball. Especially for me, it was super in the gaps, like the passing lanes. I made the right play all night, so I don't look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled. And like I said, I tend to agree with this. I wouldn't say he played badly, but for a guy whose main proponent is scoring, not getting shots to some degree means that you're not being effective and that you're being turned out. And that is something that we are okay with and that we won this game by doing. That needs to be noted before we get into the big breakdowns of our players in the games that they had, which we're going to get into right now. We're taking a look at the big three of Oklahoma City. I put together some notes for this game, and boy, was it astounding looking at the performance of these guys. JDub, Chet, and SGA. When we're looking at what they did compared to the rest of the team, we see here points. These guys scored 95 points of our 128, which means the rest of the team scored 33 points. The team was efficient. These three shot over 50% from the field. They shot 35 of 68 from the field. And from the 3 point line, they shot 10 of 20. The team on the flip side was one shot under 50 at 13 of 27. And the 3 point, they were a little bit cold at 6 for 17, right? But what we see is the main guys doing the heavy lifting here, and that's what you want. You want your best players to be able to get these looks, and that is just the night and day contrast of what Oklahoma City got versus Minnesota. Just did not reflect the scoreboard at all, and this is why this was such an interesting game to me because you had one team that was really running through their primary options, getting their A1 looks down the court, and then another team that wasn't getting their A1 looks, couldn't get their guy open to save anything, but yet they were still keeping up, they were still scoring. We look at the rebounding numbers in these guys: 19 rebounds for this group of three, and 17 for the rest of the team. This team's chipping in everywhere. We're going to get into where each individual guy was chipping in specifically, and we're going to get into that after we look at the points that these guys had individually. We're talking about 34 points for Jalen Williams. He played an astounding game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 40 points. He played consistent both halves, had 21 at halftime, finished 19 in the second half. Chet Holmgren had 10 and a half, 11 in the second, to a tune of 21 points for him. An astounding outing from our guy Chet. And these three combining on all cylinders, like we saw, man, the NBA does not want to see this because when this team is not even like our depth guys, yes, they're amazing. Are like Caruso, we're talking AJ Mitchell, we're talking Isaiah Joe, we're talking Aaron Wiggins. These guys can shoot the basketball at a high clip. They can score the ball. They can defend. They can do a lot of different things. But the NBA does not want to see the Thunder just having their way on offense, just going down and scoring with their main three time in and time out. We saw the field goal attempts for the rest of the team, only 27 field goals for the rest of the team combined. Like we were getting our looks every time down the court. If we strap up and play our normal defense on the rest of the guys, and if they miss more shots, like they score more to the tune of where they were between 100 110, it's another 20, 30 point blowout game that we're looking at. Oh, wow. This team's really going to wrap this up in game five. This game did end up being close, like I said, but we still have that same commanding lead, and hopefully we're going to be able to push that through. When we take a look at what each individual guy did, right? Let's take a look at what Shea did to start. He had 40, his playoff career high in this game. He shot 13 for 30, I believe. And he also, his exponential impact beyond his normal 9 rebounds and 10 assists. We're talking about chipping in on the glass, boxing out guys, securing rebounds, something that we've had trouble with in the postseason, mainly in the Nuggets series with Jokic. But nonetheless, making sure we're securing these rebounds, not letting anyone get any extra possessions, not giving them stupid second chance points off of laziness. The whole game contributing on the glass. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10 assists. This guy's scoring his playoff career high while also distributing the ball at a much higher rate than he normally does. When we take a look at what Shai normally does, let's look at his regular season stats. Talking about just a little under 33 a game, 5 rebounds. Like we said, he had 9. 6.5 assists. He had 10. What a game from Shea. He also averages a block and a steal, and then shoots 52 and then 38. So I talk about like this is the MVP of the league. Obviously, we're talking about a very, very skilled player, but he somehow found a way to erase it even to the next level in one of the most pivotal games that we had, barring this postseason, barring probably games 5 and 7 of the Nugget series. Great, great performance by Shea. Amazing score, we know, but he found a way to elevate it even beyond that in this one. Next, let's take a look at JDub, what he did in Minnesota, right? 34 points for him, 5 assists, and 3 steals. He actually had a fourth steal that he got like retroactively taken away. I saw on the stat sheet. But nonetheless, 6 out of 9 from the 3 point line. That's J-Dub's extra contribution to what he's normally doing. I would say 3 steals. Like, this is an all NBA defensive guy. So I'm not even going to slight this guy and say that that's not the defense he's providing on a normal night. But 6 for 9 from 3 point land for a team like us, that the only real weakness I've seen us have, maybe besides boxing out on defensive rebounds, would be shooting the basketball. And for this guy to come out sniper mode, 6 and 9 from the 3 point line, and finish with 34 on top of that, he played phenomenal in this game. Shout out to J Dub. He was really having his way. We're talking about a guy, which I can look at his averages for this year. J Dub averaging 21.6, 5 and 5. And he really, and yes, we see here he averages 1.5 steals. So those 3 steals, you could say he had an above average defensive effort, but the main impact was that this guy was scoring the basketball today. He was scoring the ball. He chipped in his normal amount. He had like 3 rebounds, which is a little bit under his average, but playing in all phases of the court, That's what JDub brings every night. He's modern day Scottie Pippen. I'll say it. He brings that tenacious energy both ends of the floor, and we saw it tonight. And that was one of the driving forces of this performance for us. Now, looking at Chet Holmgren here, what he was able to accomplish: 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks for Chet. A great outing for him. He played consistently across both halves, scoring double digits. And this guy, the one I want to point out for Chet is when we look at what he's usually capable of doing, we see 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. With his rebounding, yes, he only had 7 rebounds, so it's not far from the standard, but he had four on offense, four offensive rebounds, and we had 21 on the night. Great point for us to really hammer home how effective we were playing. But these offensive rebounds is another element that we brought in that Minnesota isn't necessarily game planning for, and kept them on their toes and making these adjustments throughout the game. Chet Holmgren grabbing these 4 boards, playing efficiently on offense with these putbacks, getting great looks on these putbacks, highly efficient shots. Like that's what he was taking in this game. In like we saw 3 blocks, he's protecting the rim. Set outstanding game, doing everything we needed to do. He knocked down a couple threes, stretching the floor. What more can you want other than a guy, a center who's protecting the rim, stretching the floor out, and then also grabbing offensive rebounds and finishing for second chance points? A1 performance by Chet Holmgren. Love to see it. Now, we're going to take a look at what Ant had to say about Chet's performance. And Ant thinks that Chet was the X factor in this game. He had to say in the postgame, J-Dub had a bunch of open ones. Shea made some tough ones. But I think Chet changed the game for them more than anything. Easy points, easy rebounds, putbacks. That's what those say, putbacks. All his points, I think that was the game changer, is what Anthony Edwards had to say in this one. And like we said, this was a 2 point game. They ended up scoring like, yeah, Ant Man didn't get the shots he wanted, but everyone else was hitting, so he didn't need to force them. But we were able to pull this out from these little impacts from our guys in just every area of the game. And this needs to be noted. The NBA does not want to see the Thunder Big Three taking over all facets of the game like this, plus the depth that we have. This makes this team almost unbeatable when you look at it. And the NBA store seems to agree. I had to bring this up. I saw that they sent out on the NBA store 4 days ago Thunder Western Conference Finals T-shirts. The Minnesota Timberwolves. There's not a version of these available. The NBA is trying to tell us this is getting over in 5, so be ready for it. Game 5 is going to be tomorrow. We got the Pacers playing the Knicks tonight for Game 4. That series is 2-1. But all in all, the Thunder are really winding down on this season one way or another, whether they make it all the way or not. This season's coming to the end. I'm savoring every moment of this historic season. I'm so excited for Game 5. Let me know what you guys think the score prediction is going to be if we get it done in 5, because I know I think we do. I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been Gabriel Ebersole with Thunder Digest. Peace.